Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jordan, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Reality News, our place to talk about our favorite realities: virtual, augmented, and mixed reality. Give this video a like if you guys want to help out the channel, and subscribe if you're new here, and let's get into today's first story. One of the first stories that I did when I first started this series was whether or not the Oculus Quest was back in stock, and at the time it seemed like it was only coming in stock in Europe and other places around the world. Well, the good news is it seems like Oculus is doing everything they can to bring it back here in the US. As you can see from this chart that was provided by Road to VR, it seems that the Oculus Quest is available pretty much everywhere except for New Zealand and South Korea right now. Everywhere it does seem that it's going to take a little bit of time, maybe by the end of the month, for it to actually ship, even including here in the US. It's showing that it won't ship until June 25th. But the good news is when I double checked the other day, I live here on the West Coast, and it was saying that it would arrive here if I were to order it yesterday, which was the 9th. It said that it would be here by the 22nd of June. So that's only a couple of weeks. I do see a couple of comments from people saying they finally got their hands on one, or at least they were able to order it, but it wasn't going to ship for another 2 months. And I do definitely feel bad about that. But yeah, it seems like it's going to be much easier to get your hands on now. I will say that I'm hopefully going to be able to get one here so I can go over it more on the channel. So I am definitely excited about that. And yeah, once I'm able to get mine, I will make sure to brag. Cover it here on the channel. If you're also able to pick one up, or if you already have one already, make sure to drop a comment and let me know down below, and let me know if there's any Oculus Quest content that you guys want to see. I mean, I am a Rift S user and I love my Rift S, but it's very clear that Oculus is trying to phase it out and make the Quest the main focus, and especially with the hand tracking and all the other features that it's been getting, it seems like all of the cool stuff's going to be going there. So I'm definitely going to check that out, and I want to make more videos and content around it. So if there's anything specifically that you guys want to see, let me know in the comments, because that definitely helps me come up with ideas for videos. For our next story, I want to talk about locomotion in VR. One of the biggest things that stops people from getting into VR, besides the price of getting a PC and a headset, is usually their trouble with motion sickness. You know, I'm someone who's really big into VR. I have an entire channel dedicated to it, but my fiance, she doesn't really like to play as much because of the fact that anything that's not Beat Saber or something that's keeping you in one place makes her motion sick. Now, this is mainly because the fluid in our ears moves as we do, and when we see that the screen in front of us is moving and the fluid in our ear is not responding in the same way, it makes our body feel nauseous. Now, a lot of us have played long enough that we've kind of built our quote-unquote VR legs, but honestly, this really isn't going to be solved until either we have full dive technology or we have some type of treadmill solution that allows us to move the way that we do in the real world in the game. And one of the companies that are trying to tackle this is Cat VR. Now, before, Cat VR had a Catwalk VR treadmill that they released back in 2015, and then later on, a couple years later, they tried to come out with the Catwalk mini treadmill, which was a smaller scaled down version of that. Well, now they're back again, and they're starting the Kickstarter for what they're calling the Catwalk C, which is essentially supposed to be a VR treadmill that's built specifically for consumers. Now, this thing isn't going to be cheap. From my understanding, the early bird special on it is about $700 plus whatever the cost of your shipping is. But if you're somebody who wants to be on the cutting edge of VR and really try out being able to move around in a game like walking in Skyrim or something like that, this seems like it would be a really cool option for you to pick up. I won't be getting one because, you know, I'm poor, but there is the fact that, you know, I could leverage the full weight of my 100 subscribers to go at Catwalk and demand that they send me a free one to review for you guys. No, that's pretty unlikely. Anyway, I definitely think this is going to be something that turns out to be cool, though I have heard not great things about it in the past. Some people say that it doesn't necessarily feel like actually walking, it's more like sliding, which is to be understood. But again, you know, this is the cutting edge of this type of technology, and so we're going to see that it's not going to be the greatest experience. But if you want to help, try to move that along, maybe check out the Kickstarter once that goes live. The next story that I want to go over actually combines two of my favorite things: Apple hype and new display technology for AR and VR. So recently, in some of our most recent videos, we covered all of the leaks for the brand new AR glasses that are supposedly coming out from Apple, and we went over all the technology that we know, at least so far, is going to be used in them. Well, recently a brand new patent just came out showing off something that Apple's calling dynamic focus 3D displays, where essentially they're going to be using a new technology that instead of having the traditional screens that are offset to give us that 3D image, instead they would be using mirrors and eye tracking. So that way they can project an image into the mirror and then beam it directly into our eyes that are being tracked. Now, this may sound more painful than it actually is, but this is actually a technology that would really fix any issues that we would have as far as what they're calling convergence accommodation conflict. Again, that's when the screens aren't necessarily lined up with where our eyes are looking, especially if you don't have like a manual IPD adjuster and something like the Oculus Quest or in the Valve Index. But this would really be able to keep track of our eyes and also give us probably a more clean image and also one that is accurate. So everything feels right, everything looks to be in the right proportions as far as the 3D goes. Now, we don't know for sure if this is going to be used in an upcoming headset or anything like that, because again, it's just a patent. We're not really seeing it with any future tech. But one thing that does make it really cool is that the inventor of these glasses is also the person who invented the true depth camera that's used in all of the iPhone X and newer flagship phones. So this is a person who already has a proven track record, and it just, once again gives us more encouragement that Apple is going to be releasing something. Again, I stand by the fact that I think once Apple gets into the AR VR space, that's really going to help validate the space as a whole and validate the community and really be able to build up this technology. Because once Apple hops on something, even if they're not the first to do it, then everybody else wants to follow, whether it's the people who want to buy the phones or the competitors who want to be able to keep up with the new tech that Apple's doing. So yeah, if you guys want to check it out, I'll leave a link to the article down below. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about the dynamic focus 3D displays. Next, I want to talk about Sony. As last week we were supposed to be getting our first look at PlayStation 5 gameplay and maybe even a look at the console itself during the PlayStation 5 announcement livestream. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it due to the protests and everything else that was going on in the world that was more important to talk about. But the good news is that Sony has actually moved the event to this week on Thursday, June 11th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, chances are very low that we're actually going to be able to see anything about the PSVR 2, but I do still think that it's important to keep an eye on Sony, as right now they have the highest selling VR headset of all time, and that's beating all the competition combined. So anything that they talk about should still be important to follow, just because of the fact that we'll at least have an idea of the specs and everything that's going to be running their next generation of VR technology. Now, we may still at least get some hints or glimpses into what they're thinking about or working on, just like at their last announcement talk they also mentioned 3D audio and everything they wanted to do for VR, and they named VR by name. So I still think that it's definitely on their mind. They see what the future of it's going to be, and they're still working toward giving us a brand new experience. But again, I just don't think that we're going to be seeing it tomorrow. But if you want to check out the trailer, you can actually come over to my channel at 12:30 because I'm going to be live streaming the event here. I want to get everything up by 12:30, maybe go over some speculation on what we might see and just kind of hang out and give our thoughts on what we see in the announcement. So yeah, if you guys think that would be fun, come over and join us, hang out here, and yeah, or even make sure to turn on your notifications so that way you'll be notified when I go live. Next, I want to go over the comment of the day, and this one actually comes from Gaming is Awesome, who says, okay, AR is the future, but it's just about how long will it take to become popular. And I definitely agree with that statement. We can all see where technology is headed and where it's moving toward, but we don't always know exactly how long it's going to take for it to catch on in the mainstream. Now, like I said in the story about the Apple AR patent, I definitely think that it's going to be Apple or another similarly sized company coming out with a product that is marketed on a mass scale that we're really going to see that traction. I mean, when you think about smartphones, there were a couple of smartphones in the early 2000s. BlackBerry really got a hold of being able to, get on the internet and being able to check emails and things like that. But it wasn't until 2007 when the iPhone came out that we saw this mass explosion, and now smartphones are everywhere. I mean, so it really only took about 10 years for most people to have a smartphone, and I think it's going to be something similar with the future of AR. As things start to move and we start to phase iPhones and smartphones out and people move more toward glasses, that's when you're going to see it become extremely popular. So if I had to guess, if I had to put a number on it, I would say anywhere between 5 to 10 years. Everything is always like 5 to 10 years away, especially in this space. This is what everybody says. But I honestly think that in the next 5 years, you're going to see the first, trickling of these big name AR glasses, probably first from Apple and then maybe from Samsung. But I think we're going to see that, and then it's going to pick up mass adoption probably closer to about 2030, which sounds still so futuristic and far away, but it really isn't that far in the grand scheme of things. In the future, by that point, we're going to look back on the headsets that we have now and laugh about how big and bulky they are. Thanks for the comment, gaming, and if anybody else wants to get their comment read, leave one down below and it might be yours that gets picked next time. But yeah, guys, if you could go ahead and leave a like on this video, and again, if you're brand new here, subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Yeah, it was really awesome to go over the news with you guys today, and I hope to see you next week on our next episode of Reality News. Have a good one. God bless you guys. Bye.